always when I would have a chance to meet and engage with the Business Olympia, I would always ask them that question. What does it take? What is it? And, along the way, I have learned that the key component is...
Welcome to the Regenhard Report. We got a special guest today, Veljko Pavicevic. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad. Hey, that's a great pun because one of his businesses is called Butcher. So, Veljko, welcome to the podcast. We are really excited to have you on here. You've had an amazing journey. You've created staples within our industry from a restaurant standpoint. I know you've endured some battles throughout the way, as you call it, scars and different things like that. So we're really excited to talk about that journey on how you created some of the most successful restaurants in town. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate this opportunity. First, I thank you for all your support last 6 years. If it wasn't for you, Sales Restaurant wouldn't be here, everything that we do. So when you invited me on the podcast, anytime that anything I can do to be around you is my pleasure. I'm a huge fan of your energy and all the events and all the huge results you have created.
Well, I appreciate that, and vice versa. You've always helped us and accommodated us. And, special plug, you made our engagement just so special. We had me and Clarissa, I asked her to marry me at the restaurant, and Veljko and his team made the evening unforgettable. So I really, really appreciate that. So
I'm so lucky and grateful that I'm in a sector where I have guests like you.
Appreciate
So it's never working every single day. Is creating amazing experiences.
Yes.
So to be able, and you giving us a gift of creating that moment, such a special moment in your life that will stay for you forever, I'm the one that's actually grateful. So I thank you.
Of course. Veljko, I want to get into obviously sales, Butcher, and a few things here, but tell me about your upbringing prior to Naples, Florida.
So I like to share that I'm kid from the village in Montenegro mountains. Anyone that have not heard of Montenegro, a small country north of Greece, really rugged, where the mountains are rising 6,000 and 7,000 feet from the sea level. I wasn't in that part of Montenegro by the sea, more in the high mountains, where bears and wolves were my pets, not by choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's really where it all started. Then grew up in Serbia. My dad was in construction sector. My mom was a CEO of a textile company. Eventually got really lucky and landed 1997 as a foreign exchange student in a Naples High. So yes, I have been in Naples now 26 years.
Amazing.
So now everyone knows my age.
You guys can do the math, right? How much of a blessing was it to be here in Naples?
So first, what most individuals in America do not see, that America is the greatest country in the world. Being in the greatest country in the world, and then in the greatest state, which is Florida, and then in the greatest state being in town like Naples, more CEOs and founders of the companies per capita than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
So anyone who is like us that's interested in growing the business, there's no better place on the planet Earth to be, to learn, to build relationships, and eventually to create a board.
Agreed.
This is the place.
I'm from Wisconsin, small town, and I couldn't agree with you more. I love my people that I grew up around and individuals, but like the people down here, they've created businesses. They've gone through the struggles. And the thing is, they're also very open-minded to giving back, mentoring, helping out. It's just a beautiful area down here in that standpoint.
It's Mecca of business Olympians. And why say business Olympians? What does it take to create high performance results in the world of business? And it's very interesting. I'm not sure how it was where you grew up, but the way I was growing up, money was always evil. It was always, I grew up, with the small means and things like that, it was always evil. Individuals that run the companies, that was evil. The companies were evil. All of these things.
Yeah.
And my guests are some of the most generous, some of the nicest, some of the most pleasant individuals, some of the highest energy, some of most pleasant individuals to actually be around.
Right.
And it just happened that they build these sizable businesses. So what I did, I started interviewing a long time to seek what is the reason and what is the secret, this success.
Yeah.
So I started that about 23 years ago. I joined Ritz-Carlton Naples Beach Resort in a management training program, and I was in a dining room. And always when I would have a chance to meet and engage with the Business Olympia, I would always ask him that question. What does it take? What is it? And, along the way, I have learned that the key component is to be nice.
Amen to that.
Yes.
I think everyone in this world just needs to hear that a few more times.
So being nice, being polite, it seems in a new era is being lost, but all the individuals that are running the sizable of businesses, everyone is like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would see them, like if we would look in a back, like past of the centuries, I would see them as a knight. You would have knight in a shiny armor, and there would be the battles, there would be all these things. But one day, see the grandma, they stop, let her pass, help her across the street.
Yes.
When the grandma is walking into the bus, they're the ones that are first standing up and helping her into the bus.
Yeah. It really has been lost, and it's a shame. It's like I feel like I've held the door, and sometimes it's the people look at me like, "Oh my gosh, you held the door for me." Where in my mind, like, you should be holding the door for people. You should be kind. You should be considerate. I've also had this same situation where you've held the door for someone and they kind of look at you like, thank you, and it's almost like they take it in a negative way because they're just not even used to it. And it's just a shame in that way. So,
but I have realized that in the last decade, maybe it's a currency that is being lost, and that increases our value.
Yes, 100%.
So anyone who is asking around me, one of the big reasons why we created such a high level of results is the team members. And when we recruit, we only look for individuals that are like us.
Well, it's a good and a bad thing. It's just diminishing the society from an overall standpoint of being nice and considerate and treating others like you want to be treated. But also, like you said, it helps us, right? It's going to make us stand out. And I say this time after time, if you want to be a successful business owner, work hard and treat other people, do as you say you're going to do, and show up on time. I mean, those are the few things. If you can do those, you tweak a few other things, like you're already on the you have the building blocks to a successful business. So many times I feel like people take advantage of Naples, right? Attempt to take advantage of Naples. They come in, they believe they can win or treat, win over these people or treat these people. But they forget, like you said, the people that are here are extremely successful business owners that have gone through hell and back, right? They've gone through the grind. And so they're the ones that know it. And so you can't 100%. Pull one over on them.
Yes, 100%. So what I like to share, don't take my kindness as weakness.
Oh, no. Yes. Amen to that. I want to hear about that decision that you made when you said, and what spawned that when you said, I want to create Sales Restaurant. And for the listeners that don't understand, Sales Restaurant is number one restaurant in Naples.
Thank you.
And unbelievable service, unbelievable food, world-renowned everything. Believe it was top 10 brunches, according to, was it Urban
Open Table?
Open Table in America.
Yes.
Right? So When you first said, I want to create sales, what was going through your mind?
So first, thank you for sharing this, how you feel and how, I still always feel that we have so much room that we can improve and we can get better. But really, we are here, and all these things happen because of the guests like you. So I thank you for all of your support all of these years. How idea started is when I met Corinne Ryan, my wife, about 12 years ago, with travel. By then, I traveled to 69 countries. She made me look like a kid from the village in Montenegro mountains that never left the village, because by then she went to over 95.
Really?
Yes. So two of us travel extensively with our businesses. And then one day, traveling gets to be a lot.
Yes.
And then we said, so let's make a list of the businesses that we're interested in doing. So we wrote a long list. And one thing that we always have done when we traveled, when we knew what location we're going to travel around the world, even before we would book the hotels, we would book our restaurant reservations. Because it doesn't matter what we do in the day, restaurants, experiences, dinners, and lunches, that was our time. So we always had this passion of travel and fine dining and experiencing and luxury experiences, things like that, and all around the food, best of the cocktails, best of the wines. And out of about 300 businesses that we wrote on that list, we scratched them all off, and the last one that stayed was the restaurant.
Wow.
What
year was that?
That was in 2015.
Okay.
So 2015, so that's 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So 8 years ago, we start with this. And then sales restaurant opened up on a Valentine's Day of 2018. So just to get into the place of opening as my business number 7, that was the hardest thing I have ever done. And then upcoming 18 months, 24 months, multiply that level of the pain by 100.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Not only did you obviously endure normal operating, problems as a business owner, you obviously were endured and engulfed with COVID, a big hurricane, all these other things, right?
So it's interesting you bringing up COVID, because COVID came 2 years after, so 24 months later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy with what we have done before that COVID and how we prepare ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because if COVID happened just a year earlier, we would have ended up as the 99% of our sector.
Yeah.
99% of the restaurants in the world fail in the first 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a sector that's known for being super fragmented, challenging to operate, inefficiencies, and many other things. What we have done in the first 12 months, literally, the back part of sales in front of the kitchen in the wine room where I usually have you seated, I was the captain of that area. So for first 12, 16 months, none of the guests actually knew who is the owner. So I was the server, I was the captain, and I used that as the training station. So that was 7 nights a week.
Wow.
Corinne and I worked first 5 years without one single day off.
Wow.
So
if you guys are not listening right now, you have to understand the amount of work that these two have put into the business. And I think people just are delusional on what work really means, delusional what work ethic means. So just listen to that for a second and understand that it doesn't happen overnight. It's time after time after time putting in the work. It's that discipline and dedication.
yes,
It's powerful.
With the younger generation, they see results that come after a decade or decade and a half or 2 decades, and then they maybe see some of the the founders of the businesses that drive some sports cars or some supercars or some hypercars, and then they think that that's how they actually live their life. That's 1% of the 1% of the 1%. 99% of running a business is that you deal with the biggest problems.
Mm-hmm. It's like, which problem are you going to have today?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I do usually, I love the frog method, which is I eat the biggest problem in the morning as soon as I get up. Yes.
Love that. Love
so
that.
if you like training yourself, maybe organic apple cider vinegar is a good start.
You know, it's funny because you say that, and I talk about this way too often, but the 75 hard that I did was a discipline, right? And when people now have reached out to me and they say, hey, I'm going to do it, what's your advice? I say, do it in the morning. Do as much as you can in the morning. Get that first workout outside done in the morning. Start drinking as much water as you can. You know, set yourself up for success. Get as much as you can done in the morning. And it goes back to your frog method, which is the same thing, right?
Our body is like a machine. In order that we can have it perform on the highest level, we need to make sure we optimize it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes the mindset, and a mindset, is like a software. Mm-hmm. So both of these, you don't have to be born with it. Right. Like I'm exactly opposite from everything that it could be, but you can work on it, and you work on it, and you work on it. So I feel it's the biggest gift is when you can work in the business, hopefully someone else's business. So if you're making mistakes with their investment,
right?
And you're investing 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours, you have to compress that into the shortest possible time. So if anyone is not interested in working 120 hours a week, I would not recommend the entrepreneurship.
Nope. Go work for someone else.
And I'm
Yep.
all about the strategy.
Yeah.
You know, I optimize my calendar, everything. I do everything. I measure, things, but it just the pure number of the hours that are needed to get into a result. You have to find a way how you can compress them.
Right.
And then the second part is, if you're not that individual, you will never to create a culture of the individuals like that will ultimately create results and the difference in the marketplace.
Right.
Because what everybody sees, with the business is just the value that the business brings into the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all about value, right? It's not a price point. It's what value do you see with that price point, right? Because, a car, right, gets you from point A to point B, and a Lamborghini and a Honda Civic are priced very different. But at the end of the day, they both get you from point A to point B, right? It's what value do you see in it, right? So it's pretty crazy. If I told you, the Honda Civic is $50,000 or the Lambo's $50,000, you're going to choose the Lambo because you think you see a lot more higher value in it, right? Lucky, you've obviously built a amazing business, but not everyone stood there and said, okay, you're doing it right. You're doing exactly what you should do. I support everything you're doing, right? You had a few people that didn't support you, right? I've had it within my business, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs deal with that all the time. Talk about that.
I would say exactly opposite from support. Some of the closest individuals around me, including my mom. So my mom, when we were starting with the business, my greatest supporter of my life, always supported me with everything, said the only one thing I'm really happy about with you opening this restaurant is that you don't have any investors and you don't have any bank loans. So when you lose it all, you're not going to own any money to anybody.
Wow.
Yes. And then when we started, lots of individuals around us, the neighbors around us, friends around me were giving us 3 months. The generous ones were giving us 6 months because they said, you don't understand Naples. This is too high end and it's too expensive. So they said, it's impossible for you to succeed. Second time I heard impossible is about 4 years ago when we started with the brunch service, and $65 a person for a breakfast. That's impossible. And then making it into ticketed event, that was impossible. And then elevating a price, which was Christmas upcoming ahead of us, which is $268 a person. And now in a month of November is fully booked. Impossible.
So stepping back for a second, when people say it's impossible, first of all, it motivates you, and it should motivate everyone that's listening, right? But secondly, looking at that, right? It all, like $65 for a brunch, right? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, it will never work. Now fast forward, right? Very short amount of time in grand scheme of things. It's fully booked. It's no, you can't get any more, and they all paid over $260 per person. So if it's your industry, if you're in insurance, if you're a lender, if you're, a car salesman, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, okay, you showed them the value, right? Time after time of what you were providing to someone. And that value obviously holds true now, right? And it has been elevated. And so don't let anyone discourage you.
In our guests still our regulars say, I don't know how you do it at this price point. This is amazing. You're giving so much value. Please don't change. And what we do, we keep elevating. So couple of recent individuals, because I'm a strong believer, it's all about the team. It's all about the dream team. So we have a team of hospitality Olympians that our strategies, we never hire. We recruit worldwide. So one of the most recent individuals that joined us is executive chef from Waterside Inn. Waterside Inn is the longest standing 3 Michelin star restaurant in the world.
Wow.
Executive sous chef from Ritz London. One of the places that always was the pinnacle of luxury hospitality.
Yeah.
And there's so many other individuals around the world that come and join us because they believe that we can elevate luxury hospitality into yet another level.
It's crazy.
And it's also interesting. If you are an entrepreneur, you start some business, and around you hear that you are difficult, your expectations are too high, that you're demanding, you're doing a great job. Because your next responsibility you have to do is to find an individuals. Like, I'm so grateful that now most of the individuals in our team, they ask me, what happened with you? We heard that you used to be tough, demanding, and now we're not seeing those level of expectations. I said, I have not changed. What happened? I changed the individuals in a team.
Yeah.
So work only with the high performance individuals. And as Steve Jobs once said, your job as a founder is to find only 5 top of the top of the top of individuals. They will create the culture and they will guard it. They will recruit and hire individuals like them. And if anyone slips through the cracks, that individual will quit.
Mm-hmm. Creating a culture is so important. And I think people understand or misunderstand the importance of it. They will hire because it's cheaper or whatever. And it comes back to the famous line my dad always told me, you get what you pay for, right? And so, you need to find the right people in the right seats. Now, that's been a struggle for a lot of people. So my question to you is, when you say recruit, right? What do you exactly mean by that? And to a business owner, a leader, or entrepreneur that is ready to bring on someone, it's hard to find good people in this world and society. What do you recommend?
So I recommend, number one, knowing exactly what individual you're looking for. And then as you're speaking with someone to understand what value they bring in your business and where they being in your business in a 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years from now. So that's the key component. Anytime when we hire because we have a need happen because, the failure, ultimately my mistake, because I didn't think I had and I have not planned. So when you ask me that question, with the recruiting, really, our recruiting comes from 3 parts. So 3 parts. So number 1 part is I'm really involved with the LinkedIn, and I'm involved with the individuals around the world that are in a sector of luxury hospitality. So having these connections in cherishing these relationships is extremely important.
Yeah.
Number 2, who is the guest? Who is the member at the Butcher Private? Individuals like you. So it's individuals that are well-traveled, that love life, that stay in a luxury hospitality experiences. And anytime when you travel somewhere, if I see you, I always say one thing. When you're traveling, when you meet someone like us, ask them, why are you here? You should be in Naples.
Yeah.
And that second part really created a huge results.
Gotcha.
But the part that created the highest level of the results is recruitment of the members of the team.
Okay.
These are the individuals, all of us, we know who is like us.
Right.
And we already know what are the expectations. And also, anyone who is a high performance individuals does not want to ruin their reputation by bringing someone who is not a great fit in the culture.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to bring someone in that they know is going to let you down. Referral is so important. That's what my business of Real Producers is stemmed on, and is critical, right? Because one bad seed cause a huge snowball effect.
And we're coming back into how important is the community that you build around you,
right? Of
like-minded individuals.
Are you lucky or do you work hard, right? Like the thing is, I know you, and I know you're, you were texting me at 2 a.m. and at 5, right? Like, you've obviously built 2 big businesses. We're going to talk about Butcher in a second here. People say, oh, well, you probably got lucky. You got lucky in this town. You found the whatever, right? How do you respond to that?
Yes, harder I work, luckier I get. Someone says that. But how I do it, I would say that I'm exact opposite from luck. Where I started, and then what happened in the 1990s with the Serbia, Montenegro, and all the wars. For me, at the age of 17, to be in a bunker for 41 days while I was in college, and Belgrade was getting bombed, to come back in United States with $286 in my pocket out of $1,000 that my brother-in-law lent me, landing on a JFK, I would say I'm exactly opposite from everything. But another thing I like to share with everyone is adversity is a terrible thing to waste. Yes. So anyone who is listening this, if you think you have some problems or you grew up poor and challenged in anything, I'm saying you're actually really gifted.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more, because look at how entitled and spoiled sometimes us Americans are, right? You made it a point to say how America's the greatest country. We talked about Florida, Naples, different things like that. You're so appreciative of it because also you've experienced it. Like I experienced a little bit with my traveling in my last line of work, but people just don't understand and they don't appreciate it. So they need to open their eyes.
We are very lucky. All of us here in America, we're extremely lucky. Anyone who lives in Florida, right now we are in November. Majority of the world is cold. Lots of pieces. Parts have snow, and look at us.
Sunny
Naples,
Florida.
Florida.
Yep.
Surrounded by the business Olympians.
Yep. So tell me, obviously sales was extremely successful, and you're an entrepreneur. So you said, this isn't obviously my final stop here. I want to create something else. And you've created Butcher. Okay. Tell me about Butcher.
So first thing I want to share with you, I always had huge dreams and aspirations. I had a high level of clarity knowing where our organization is heading and how we can get there. But I always feel that I'm not good enough.
Because you're a perfectionist. I understand that.
So it took us quite a long time first until we opened Butcher. It was about 3 years of construction and development. So in April 2020, we purchased the land and building, which was maybe the craziest time in a century to invest in a restaurant sector or in hospitality sector. And that's exactly what we have done. And when we acquired that building, we listened our mentors and our guests, some of the most affluent individuals in the world. Sales restaurant has so many guests that fly in internationally just to dine with us. So when I have that opportunity that I can be around business Olympians, I genuinely care to have learn from them and be mentored. And when they share with me a piece of a knowledge or an information, I implement it, and then I go back, I message them, and I say, you told me this and this, and I did it. This is amazing. How did you know? And then these relationships become even more meaningful. So before I share with you what they share about the Butcher, one of my most favorite questions when I meet someone who is a high-level executive, the chairman of the companies like Johnson & Johnson, like at Caterpillar, American Express, some of these individuals, I love asking every one of them one question. When you're interviewing someone, and what is one question that you have asked that was a super driller question that you can really find out who is that person, what are they built off?
My question?
So that's usually what I ask. So share with me, what is your question that when you're interviewing someone and you're interested in getting deep inside of them and knowing what they're built off, that you ask?
My question, if I was going to try to add, like in this case, would be what motivates you and what's your why? That's what I would. And I would do that just because usually you get to understand their intent behind it too, right? And you get to learn a lot more about them.
The question that one of these big colleagues of the industries likes to ask is, if I know you as good as you know yourself, what should I ask you in this interview?
If I know you as good as you know yourself, what should I ask you in this interview? It's a good question. It's a tough one. So what would be your answer?
Would you please reply? Very good. This is an interview master. Exactly. When someone asks you a question, what do? You revert back. That was amazing comeback.
So, let
me ask you another question.
Okay.
If you and I agree to work with one another for the 6 months, and after 6 months we sit down just like this, and we agree that it has not worked out, what might be a reason that it has not worked out?
Yeah. I mean, it all depends obviously on what I think the business is and the expectations were set. I think that would be probably, I would assume if it didn't work out, my answer to you and to that question was that the expectations were not clearly set, either by the involvement from each party, what you consider success, the deliverables, all these kind of things go into play. But I think, success is extremely vague, right? Like your success and my success and someone else's success is all very different, right? So when you say it's not a success or it didn't work out, what does that mean to you, right? Like I work with a lot of business owners that their success when they meet a couple of realtors and build their business is great. Others are like, I want 10, 20, 30, right? That's their success. And others are. So I would say, I think the expectations were not clearly defined or set prior.
Yes. Another very interesting question. You were in leadership role and you have managed in the past other individuals. Can you please give me an example of 3 individuals that you managed, that you were responsible for, and where they at now because of you?
Yeah. Well, one led, yeah. All right. I see what you're saying. I'm not going to answer that because, to be very transparent, I haven't led a ton of people. I've instructed some people in my past. I've guided some people, but I haven't led too much. I'm excited in future endeavors to lead more and kind of coach more and hopefully push to that. I know, we just had someone that was a part of Real Producers, and from the get-go, I asked what they wanted to do, and it was to kind of run their own business, and now that's what they're inspiring and starting to do. So I think that's powerful. I think at the end of the day, you can, the famous cliche line is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But a lot of people give up on the leading part because they might not drink right away. So you just got to keep leading, and the results will come. And I know you do this from a value standpoint. You continuously give value, and it will come full circle.
And it's really about the levels. So level 1 would be managing someone. Level 2 would be leading someone. Level 3 would be inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
So what I focus on all the time, how I can inspire individuals around me that they can create higher level of results that they have ever seen or could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So you asked me about business, where are we going? What is my dream? My dream is to create 1,000 millionaires.
That's amazing. You will do it.
Yes, and I know exactly what does it take because I went from minus. And the key number 1 is change of the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone says mindset is that. The mindset drives you to work harder. Mindset drives you to have more clarity, more focus, more push, more drive. Treat others with the respect. Do the right thing. Build a reputation.
Yep.
And then all stacks on top of each other. And then once you fix everything else, then everything just starts flowing your way.
Yep. It's the building blocks.
Yeah. So going back into the question of the Butcher Private. So what we have done, I have just listed our mentors, individuals that are well-traveled, that are the Olympians of the industries, the Olympian champions, the ones that are highly discerning, the ones that know exactly what they want, when they want it, how they want it, because they have experienced the best of the best in the world. And they shared with me that we should build something that's on a level above sales. Maybe not level, maybe not 2, maybe not 3, but more than that. So that's how we started with our conversation. It started with that conversation that they challenged me. what is the maximum
Did
level
they say
of
it
the
was
output.
impossible, right?
Yes, that was
You
yes.
doubled down, right?
Exactly. What's the maximum level of the output? So what we created a space that's for individuals that are in the world of business. We like to call it Butcher Private Business Club, but it's really a dining club. The dining club that's open all day long. That we have a power lunch Monday through Friday, the high tea after that. Every Saturday, Sunday, we have an amazing level of the champagne brunch, and then we go into evening service. The whole building is split up in concepts. So the main concept in the main dining room, imagine that the executive chef of Waterside Inn is executing top-level steakhouse menu. That's exactly what it is. In the dining room, the seats up to 80.
Wow.
So when you have these clubs, they have these huge dining rooms, 300, 400, 500 chairs, but have no soul. This is exactly what we have. We have a soul, and we have that level of execution.
Yeah.
And then a second concept within is the library by Bentley. So we're so grateful and lucky that we partner with the Bentley, and they have supported us with an idea to organize a library by Bentley in Naples, Florida, that resembles of some of the most elegant and luxury libraries in London, England.
Wow.
And then the wine room. The wine room, I would say every part of that club I love, because we have built it over time. But I would say one that's the most interesting is the wine room. And wine room resembles on a wine room itself, just a bigger in size with the higher ceilings. And that's an omakase room.
Okay.
So we organize omakase, then we organize a chef's table. And when you think chef's table, how you bring an experience of the Waterside Inn, longest standing 3 Michelin star restaurant in the world, into Naples, Florida. You step in a wine room at the Butcher Private.
Wow.
And when you're interested in experiencing the most favorite of the dishes of a Queen of England, what do? You have a chef that used to cook for her. His name is Sam King. That's at the Butcher Private. So he organizes a dinner that's all items most favorite of the Queen. Or the Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
Or the favorite and really known soccer players. And you know which ones.
Yeah.
Yes, that he used to cook for. So these are the experience. Then another concept is the theater room. In the theater room, we organize events all the times, the wine dinners, the experiences. But every day, Monday through Friday, after the power lunch, we organize a high tea. And the art of high tea is lost around the world. So we bring it back into the top level of experience.
Explain high tea.
So the high tea. So kid from the village in Montenegro mountains in year of 2000 walks into a lobby that's covered in a white marble and brass everywhere. Ritz-Carlton Naples Beach Resort. I had a one suit into my name. I acted confident, but my knees were shaky. That's the first time that I have seen a high tea while I was being interviewed. A year later, I became a manager of a lobby lounge at Ritz-Carlton Naples Beach Resort. I never knew what's the high tea and what is this whole experience. You know, these ladies with the red hats and all of this having this experience. And as I traveled, I developed love for the high tea because it's not only about an experience, it's about an amazing tradition.
Gotcha.
But when you have that organized and paired as a world travel, because we have a trolley of 80 herbals and teas from all around the world, and you think about that tea is actually only one herb. And that one herb, it can be treated different ways to be a white, a green, black, or an oolong. And then you take that one herb and then you get the teas from different continents.
Right.
And then you sample them next to each other.
That's awesome.
So it feels as you're in a time capsule.
Yeah.
And you have a chance you can travel worldwide. without leaving the room.
So amazing.
But that's only one part. The second part is another trolley, and that's the trolley of the honeys. I have, growing up in a village, and our family owns original 60 beehives that I think one of those days when you were at the butcher, at sales, we serve you that honey with yogurt and walnuts. So that's honey from my farm in Montenegro. So that's 60 beehives. They're over 100 years old. So I have a huge passion and love for bees, because without the bees, we will not have any food. There will be no food left, on the planet Earth. So what we do, we organize and bring honeys from all around the world, and then you can taste it or you can enjoy it with any of the teas. Now that becomes so many combinations, so many flavors between the teas and honeys. And the best of the scones that coming out hot out of the oven, and in the sandwiches that are ideas of Queen Elizabeth, and best of the pastries made by the executive pastry chef of Kempinski Hotel, and so many more. But then that's that experience. Then another experience that we have is the lounge. And the lounge with the bar at the Butcher Private is the area that has been mostly utilized. That's the one that's really loved by the members all day long, because it's used from the noontime until, in some instances, 3, 4, one instance 5 a.m. where I was not a driver and I was not a butler. I was more like a valet. So at 5 a.m. what I do, I bring my members into the car, and then I drive them home.
I love it. Hey, whatever you have to do for your clients, right?
No, I'm grateful.
Yes.
Every time when I had, when I stay past midnight, all the staff leaves, then it becomes more like a private party.
Yeah.
And then when I have individuals around me that are the founders of some of the largest companies in the world, I'm the one that pinching myself, waiting for the moment when I will wake up. And I don't. I'm staying with them for hours.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful.
It's amazing. It's just so amazing, the people you can be around, the people you can meet, and what that can lead to from an experience standpoint. Butcher Private obviously is still new, but it's extremely successful. And I just want to say congratulations to what you've built. It's really remarkable. I know, just like sales, you had doubters and people and probably press and different things. And, at the end of the day, like you mentioned, right, when they say impossible, you double down.
Yes.
And you push it in.
I love to advise everyone is to, in the sector that you're in, know who is your client, who is your customer. That's the most important. None of us, we cannot serve all the segments.
Right.
But you need to know where's your segment, who do you love to be around, because you need to love your work. And in order to love your work, you need to love your client. So for me, it's easy.
Right.
I work for the best people on a planet Earth. They challenge me and make me better every single day.
Yeah.
They mentor me. They give me these questions. So I have more tools in my belt, in my box, that I can recruit better, that I can interview better, that I can influence better, that I can inspire better. So I'm grateful.
Always learning, right?
Always learning.
I think that's the biggest takeaway people need to understand. No matter where you're at, you can always learn more. You can always learn from someone else, right? Hopefully people learned from this podcast, right? Hopefully they took something away, a nugget of information for them to better serve their business and themselves.
And when you ask me about joining you on the podcast, I'm individual, even though I'm in a restaurant sector, so we're on stage all the time. I like to be more private.
Yeah.
But I felt is the moment that you and I, we can connect, and then we can share how we have done it and what does it take, and give value back into the community. I'm extremely passionate about individuals, their age of 16, 17, 18, 19, the younger version of us. And it's our responsibility. How can we share with them what we see now, because we're looking in a rear view mirror is so much easier to help them with the milestones and critical paths, so they don't have to go through all the pain that we have gone through. So that's why I accepted this podcast. And also, I'm your number one fan. I love what you do. I love your energy. And anything that I can do to support you and give you value, I'm always excited about that.
Well, we appreciate you so much, Veljko. And obviously, you've created amazing places for people to build amazing relationships, obviously, while enjoying some of the best food from around the world. So you've done nothing but provided amazing resources and atmospheres here in Naples locally. And I hope people online also get tons of value from you. It's been an amazing podcast. I wish we had more time, right? But I know you're busy and whatnot. So thank you so much. If they do have questions and need to reach out,
I would recommend adding me on LinkedIn.
There you go.
So my first name is Veljko, that's spelled Veljko, and the last name is Pavicevic, Pavicevic. Please add me on LinkedIn, and let's all work as a group or how we can make this community even better and have it known worldwide even more than where we're at now.
Amen to that. Amen. Well, thank you again. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.